G'day Exiles, Ziggy D here, joined by my co-caster Rise QT, and welcome back for another week of esports. PoE Sports, oh no, I missaid it. Welcome back, folks. We are back with another Act 5 any percent Kitava kill with 1 minute death penalties. And this is the grand finale of Qualifiers. It is the last one, and many people's last chance to secure that Ultra VIP ticket, flights and accommodation, and slot in the grand finale at ExileCon itself, which is a prestigious event to participate in and a little piece of history. I still remember the first one, and I'm sure lots of people are going to be fighting it out for that last spot. I think there's at least like 6 to 8 people, something like that, have like been going real hard trying to secure that spot. So
I mean, everybody does. Come on, Ziggy. Yeah. Everybody's got a real chance.
That's true. That's true. Imagine if you know, a real unknown just kind of got in there. That would be very exciting. So I was going to ask Rise, what do you who do you think has a real shot at today?
Oh man, there's really a lot of players. I think some people that we've been seeing recently that have been performing really well has been Keldorn. We've been talking about well, off stream anyway, about the rule in which if somebody were to qualify but not show up at ExileCon, we're getting a replacement, and for that it would be anybody that would have the fastest second time from any of the races from the qualifiers. So that would be Keldorn as far as we're concerned. So quitting early is not necessarily something that you want to do, because even if you do end up you know, qualifying after somebody, some rules, something, sometimes you might end up in a situation where you would still be going to the event. So Keldorn definitely looking good, Alex looking good. We've been seeing some cheeky moves from Quantric. He's been playing on different accounts and having different runs, you know, sometimes some better, some worse. But today we also have a crowd favorite that we have not been seeing, in fact, in the other qualifiers. And that's Ben. Ben is logging in, and I gotta say, this man makes me believe that under 1 hours are in fact possible, because he will do the seemingly slowest, most casual run I would have ever seen from any racer ever, and then he kills Kitava and it's like a 106, and it's just like, oh, okay. Ben really is a mechanical god and completely crazy. He doesn't seem to even be that familiar with layouts, and yet it just works. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing what Ben is capable of. Even though he might be a little bit lacking in practice, it's still probably could be good enough.
That is very exciting news, Rise. And a sub 1 hour would be absolutely mental. A bunch of people did get together and do a pickup race yesterday, actually. Exile kind of just like gathered everyone up, and they all did a practice race together, which is super awesome to see. Some like real community vibes there, but everyone also wanting to get, you know, the best possible practice, not only for this, but in the lead up to ExileCon. And I think I did see Exile pull out a sub 106 and Tai Killer with a sub 108 there as well, but sub 1 hour. Whew. Imagine. Imagine. I'd be excited by like 105 today. Would be nutty. I'd be very impressed. But we do have a lot of people with a strong shot, and we do have, of course, our mystery player Guras, who might be playing on a different account today, it sounds like. But you know, we have a very fast racer there who's a little bit unknown, but does seem to have a little bit of a mindset issue where they have quit every race so far before the finish line. And today is the day that you cannot do that. You do need to go all the way to the finish line there. But if you missed the previous qualifiers, we did have the first winner, and these are our people that will be at ExileCon racing, is Exile, who is proving to be a true force to be reckoned with. They are a kind of a pro gamer across the board in multiple games, actually. And Exile did win that first one with a time of 1:10 and 35 seconds, which nowadays doesn't seem that fast, but that was the first race, right? People weren't refined at that point, and has since pulled out plenty of times, such as like a 30 and things like that as well. So lots of very fast times since then. Tai Killer was the next winner in week 2 with a time of 1:08.19, and has been getting faster as well in practice runs. And Havoc, one of the community creators and leaders of the racing scene in Path of Exile, with a time of 1:09.35 last week as well. So I think our mics might be a little bit better. Every time, yeah, it's fine before, but then Discord dies a little bit.
Yeah, we
Real
seem to have
life.
some technical issues, but maybe it's working now. Might be a little bit of a delay, so if our interactions are a little bit extra awkward today, chat, please make sure to let us know. You know, we always look forward to those spicy comments. But yeah, absolutely. And seeing the comments of people always downing Ben, you know, always thinking, oh, he's not a short-term racer. He can't do this. He can't do that. Ben has been showing that he's been capable of doing anything. So seeing the amount of people cheering on Ben in the chat has been really great. So
I
really
definitely saw
can't
some
wait.
real excitement there at the Ben announcement, so I'd be very excited to see some of that action as well today. But also very excited to see what Keldorn, Quantric, or Alex Pleblod can pull out. I think that they have been just barely kind of grazing the line of getting into that
Yeah.
really fast categories, and with their practice runs, I regularly see them practicing against some of the current best players, often in rotation against I'm Exile there in practice runs, and that bodes well. But that's brutal. Only one slot to get today, only one place for so many people to try and fight out for. And
Yeah.
I really can't call it exactly. Like you said, Keldon's kind of got the fastest time so far, so very strong contender, and we do have that mystery player. But I'm very unsure how to call today. I'm less sure about today than I have about previous races, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Garast has been looking great. Definitely some problems there when it comes to the approach. From my understanding, they have in fact quit all 3 races so far. And as you mentioned previously, that's not something that they can afford today. But, you know, with Ben being so stoic, calm, and relaxed, it might just end up being pretty good. Although, I do have to mention that he is going with a more risky strategy than a lot of other players. Initially, we haven't really seen anybody other than Grust using determination. And by the 3rd qualifier, a lot of people were already using determination. Ben, however, is not going for that at all. So I do wonder if he will be able to be fully in control of his character and not, well, have a little bit of a casual rip somewhere around Act 4 or Act 5.
That would be very uncasual indeed.
Yeah.
We've got like the core strategies definitely kind of have evened out now. Like people have agreed upon, or at least found that Templar with Rolling Magma early on, Flame Wall, and some disagreement on Flame Totem, whether it's worth it, but transitioning into Cremation and Armageddon Brand, that as the core strategy is fairly set in stone now. However, other aspects of the strategy, such as Passive Tree Pathing, and like you mentioned, auras have been changing a lot as well. I've seen Anger, I've seen Determination, I've seen all 3 of the Heralds in different combinations of 2. So it sounds like you're a fan of the Determination for the safety, but that is also something you can swap out as well, depending on the situation. I imagine it's not always super useful. Yeah, and even just like the differences in Heralds too. It's super interesting to see that people kind of really strongly disagree on this aspect of the strategy.
Yeah, definitely a lot of flavor there, a lot of preferences. And yeah, when you were talking about anger, I think also there's a lot of RNG, you know, really, it doesn't seem like a long race, right? 1 hour and approximately 7 to 10 minutes that we've been seeing so far. But that mental aspect when it comes to handling the RNG is a pretty important one, you know, with players utilizing swords and axes and weapons that really speed up leap slam a lot. You don't get to use wands, and when you don't use wands, getting those triple blue links in Act 1 tends to be a lot more difficult. So I have heard of some players, again, I'm going to mention Ben because that actually has happened to him today, where he was level 24 and he had no triple blue link. And when that happens to you, you know, it doesn't matter. You still got to win. So you just got to keep going. You got to handle yourself in those situations. And experience, and I think past race experience specifically, will also play a pretty big factor here. No quitting. You can't be doing that. Again, friendly reminder to everybody who's thinking about it. Don't do it. All right. I'm going to be playing on my second monitor. I'm not going to quit.
I want to see everyone run to the
3
end
hours
line.
plus.
For sure. It's much better for us as viewers to see that run all the way to the end, especially when it's super close. So hope we do see that today for sure. But I mean, it's the race for it. And you also mentioned people playing a bit risky today. I mean, this is the race to be a little bit risky, and I think like, you gotta take that shot. The time for playing it safe was 3 weeks ago. It's not anymore. So I'm looking forward to some deaths maybe, and maybe some. If anyone's got any secret tech as well, unusual things they've been testing, then this is the week to bring it out. I'd like to see it. But like you mentioned, sorry, go ahead.
I have found out that people have in fact been, because we've been talking a little bit more now that people have loosened up a little bit, and you know, they're sharing strategies, they're racing with each other, they're giving advice to each other. I do in fact know that people have been withholding some of the layouts that they've had access to from other players. So I do wonder if that's going to end up playing a pretty big factor here, especially for players like Ben, who again, I know I keep talking about Ben. I'm a little bit of a fanboy. But he is the most recent addition. You know, we've been talking a lot about all these other players. This guy is a recent addition, especially players such as him that, yeah, really do need the layout practice. He might be a mechanical god, but if you don't know where you're going, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So without that information, it might be tricky. And I do wonder if, you know, maybe Exile has been helping them out a little bit with practice. I have seen Exile lurking around in Ben's chat now that he's qualified his spot. I guess we haven't really actually mentioned it, but the people who have qualified so far are Exile, Tai Killer, and in the most recent qualifier, it was Havoc, who is in fact not too old to race. He was doubting himself a little bit, but he got it here. I don't think he's going to be participating in today's race, but a very strong performance from Havoc in the recent event.
Yeah, I don't believe we'll be seeing our previous qualifiers. It looks like our racers are taking the mark, so we can swap on over to the scene there and take a look at who we're going to be looking at first here today. Who we're going to be watching initially, unless, of course, we're going to be ruthless today. I'm afraid to say, folks, if anyone drops out of that top 4, we're going to be cutting them. We're going to be cutting them. Someone else is going to be taking that slot. We want to see the top 4 contenders for the final slot as they duke it out tooth and nail today in the final qualifier for this ExileCon Kitava kill. And it looks like we will be having, let me refresh here, see if everything's online. It looks like we'll be having Ben in the top left corner, Quantric in the top right, Alex Pleblord in the bottom left, and Keldorn down in the bottom right. 4 players with very strong potential to take today's win, already on their range of mules.
Yeah, personally, I'm also rooting a lot for Keldorn because of those European loading times. It would be really sick to see a fellow European perform live at ExileCon without those delays. I'm really hoping it's going to happen here for Keldorn. But yeah, we will be paying close attention to the ladder chat. Make sure to mention whenever you do feel like somebody else should be shown on the stream, as we're not always able to keep up with things. But also don't get frustrated if we don't switch to them, because you know, sometimes there's players who might look like they're in the lead on the ladder because the ladder does show you the XP that they have, but it does not show you where they are progressed in terms of the race. So always remember that that's going to be a pretty big factor, right? There's going to be different approaches, different strategies. Some players really like to focus on XP a lot. We've seen from some of the more steady racers in the past, such as Havoc or Tai23, that they tend to go for a more XP-heavy setup rather than the speedy setup, such as Exile or sometimes Tai Killer. I mean, I say that, but really, Tai Killer has become a extremely well-rounded beast. He is just so versatile. He's always able to focus on the correct thing at the time, and he's never really losing any time. So would be sick to see him today, but unfortunately will not be participating, withholding those strategies. He doesn't want to show anybody what he's got going on there.
With 1 minute to go here, here's a quick roundup on what is happening right at the beginning here. The players have taken their marks on ranges. They'll be preparing to do what is called muling, where they'll take this character, grab the support gem momentum for their leap slamming later, but also a bunch of items that they get from the Hillock kill, and checking the vendors for movement speed boots and sockets they really need, potentially things like a coral ring to give them a bit of safety against rowers. And then they'll be swapping over to their primary class, the Templar, and taking advantage of that extra loot. With the changes to vendors recently, muling is extra helpful, more so than it's ever been before. for getting those extra items that are really desperately needed. And like you mentioned, sometimes you can just struggle to get that 3 blue link, and getting that early on a helmet or something like that can make the rest of your race just feel a lot more secure and prevent any early game upsets. We have 10 seconds until the start here, and let's get a little bit of excitement because this is the final qualifier, and maybe one of these 4, or maybe someone who's not on screen right now, will be taking it, and the racers are indeed off, killing that first zombie at point blank range with that bow, and warming themselves up, getting ready for a big race here today, I think.
Damn, Ben running the big split. We're going to have a lot of insight into all of his times, and I do believe that we are seeing some possibly personal bests, but also averages that he would like to see for this event. Pretty speedy times, I must admit. What am I seeing there? Is that a 12:53 or something? The windows are too small. I can't quite tell.
Too small.
But if that's his average marathon time, that's pretty good, you know, because Act 1 is very difficult to handle, as Ziggy has mentioned. The currency is very important. The sockets are very important. I already see a double blue for Quantrig. That's going to be very valuable. Sometimes you might not even be able to get a double blue. And that is an extra frustrating moment, especially if you... you know, are maybe forced into using a chess piece. I'm watching all the vendors. Quantric actually buying a red, green, blue just to make sure that he's going to potentially have an additional chromatic. Players might be searching for good intelligence bases or, well, hidden stat intelligence bases that they eventually might be able to swap over. And we've seen some of those helmets there. I believe Ben had one and Alex had one as well. But that is extra currency that they're spending on something that really only potentially will be an upgrade for them. So nothing out of the ordinary so far. Movement speed boots definitely helping in Act 1, but with the power of Leap Slam, they're not nearly as valuable as they used to be, but I don't believe that we've seen anything. We would love to show you guys the gear of the players, but quite frankly, they're all hiding their profile, so no access to that there.
So sneaky.
Yeah, players still remaining a little bit sneaky, but I think we're
get every advantage
enough
you can.
information.
Let's see from this second kill if we get anything exciting. None of the players so far securing any big items, just a few of the basic sockets that they need to get going. But these races can do a lot on very little, so we'll see what they get. Nothing big for Keldon, it looks like.
Interesting
Possible
filter from Ben. Yeah, a big highlight from Ben on an item that he leaves on the ground. We've been talking about that in the previous qualifiers a little bit, but those filters make a really, really big difference. Especially Gucci has been talking about how Exile's times, especially a triple blue for Keldorn on a chess piece. For Ben as well, really good stuff there.
Nice.
Quantric's still stuck on a 2-link. And Alex, no, he's got a 2-link. And he does have that helmet, which gives him some potential, hopefully, for the future to actually... eventually turn into that triple blue.
We have a safety coral ring on possibly everyone but Keldon. I can't see one for Keldon there, so he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable to those rowers. And those blue rowers in the Breaking Some Egg quest coming up soon can take you out in 2 to 3 quick charges, and they charge in packs, so it can be very threatening indeed. A little bit of extra danger to watch out for there.
Yeah, it's definitely super dangerous, and you can already see the big differences for somebody like Ben, who's got 108 HP compared to the 73 of Keldorn. I mean, that's a significant difference. It seems like everybody else has a coral ring, better or worse, you know, 93 HP for Alex, 99 for Quantric, and now the fun begins as the players have entered mud flats. We all know the most dangerous zone of them all. You get that blue pack, which Alex does and kills it, drops a bunch of blue items, opts to not pick them up, goes for that safety play.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky to go back for a set of items because you don't know which rowers have already queued up a charge to that slot where you were. To take a step backwards is to often take a death in this sort of situation. Ben getting upset a little bit by some of the rowers on the eggs there, but they're just normal ones, so not too bad, and he's able to take them down. Thankfully, the damage from Rolling Magma is pretty good at like stunning and stopping those normal rowers. Not so much the magic ones, though.
Alex already level 4. A lot of blue mobs. And he's forced to fight them too, you know. Roa's ain't exactly the sort of mob that you can run away from. You can see on Ben's screen some pretty risky stuff there, but you can't really run away from them. You know, as soon as you pick up those eggs, even if they haven't targeted you previously, the Roas actually start targeting you. So some players never really. Ooh, a blue fire pack for
Oh no,
Quantric.
he's
But
skipping it.
at the end, not at an egg. So if you would have had one of those packs at an egg, it would have been super difficult. But fortunately, only at the egg, at the end does he get it. So is able to skip it and saves himself a lot of time.
Yeah, I think most of us don't notice the modifiers on magical monsters, those champions, because you know we're over-leveled, we're overpowered. But when you're racing like this, that pack of fire resistance rowers can be a real big problem. So lucky there that you just got it at the end. Looks like our players are engaging with Howrake now. Also a little bit of a dangerous fight. We haven't seen any deaths to Howrake though. I think with this particular skill setup, players are feeling a little bit safer than some previous ones. But nice clean kill there for Ben. He's doing quite nicely here. He's on fine form, it looks like.
Absolutely so. And Quantrix goes for the little bit longer layout, unfortunately. But we'll be able to take down Hellrake as well. Alex currently definitely, most absolutely in the lead. We have a player entering ledge. But do keep in mind that players could potentially not be muling. So even though they might be leading right now, we've seen from the previous races from players such as Havoc that initially they didn't go for the mule. They didn't respect the momentum. You know, a lot of Redditors have been saying that momentum is just a bad gem. But really, for this event, it's proven to be very, very good. So even though it does cost you about a minute if you include all the other things when you're muling, it does end up being worth it for scenarios such as this one, and pretty much becomes the standard now. So some players might be ahead, but as soon as everybody starts sleep slamming, that momentum will just be making it too big of a difference as another player yet again hits level 6.
Yeah, I believe that's Soupline, who it looks like they're playing on a Ranger unless the tool hasn't updated. So I think you might be right. It could be a non-mule situation.
Let's go. Soupline on a Ranger. Okay, Soupline is somebody that we haven't really talked about enough. He is a player who has been part of the scene for an incredibly long time. He has organized many races of his own in the past, and he is busting out the Ranger. So it could be one of those things where, you know, he's been a real innovator in when it comes to strategies in the past. So maybe he found out something new. Maybe he figured out something that hasn't occurred to anybody else. I do know that a lot of players have been experimenting with builds, but they pretty quickly fell back into their old ways with the usual typical caster setup. But a Ranger can go pretty freaking fast. I mean, a Duelist can go pretty fast too, but players just don't want to change their ways. They don't want to adjust their strategies. They don't want to relearn an entire new playstyle when it brings on really a lot of risk, because those runs do tend to be a lot more volatile with a much higher dependency on weapons and not just links and everything else. But you don't need as many transmutes, which is very nice. Although I gotta say, everybody's been doing a really incredible job. Ooh, a second Quicksilver for Quantric. Let's go. Everybody's been doing a really good job at just really going fast and picking up a lot of transmutes and not really running into the problem of not being able to do their vendor craft in Act 3 whatsoever.
Yeah, 2 Quicksilvers in some of the previous racing metas has been a bit of a game changer. It's certainly very nice to have here. That is full Quicksilver uptime here, basically, on a Leap Slammy setup. You know, as mentioned before, a little bit less difference that movement speed now because of the extra Leap Slamming. Though right now is the best time to get it because you are running a lot more right now since they only have Frostblink for the moment until after that Brutus kill. I would love to get Soupline in, just have a little bit of a look at that other class setup. But I'm unsure who to cut. Who's currently furthest behind? It looks like that might be Quantric, who will just sub out, potentially just for the moment, and bring in Soupline just to have a little bit of a look at some of that Ranger racing if we can.
Lower Prison has been entered. Hold on. What is Soupline? He's going for a skill point.
He's getting that. We have not seen that yet. We have not seen anyone go for the side quest for the Granddaddy Crab, because that extra passive is a nice help, but that is a little bit of a divergence off the path. It's an extra minute or so to go and get that kill. But we see some caustic arrow action, a little bit of support from some ballista totem action as well, a little that shrapnel totem. But the caustic arrow is looking pretty strong at least.
If you have a very powerful setup, you know, you can save yourself a lot of time by just not getting as much XP as a lot of these other players. With a ranger using a weapon, you're not as dependent on skill gem levels. For Brutus, you're not as dependent on hitting that very crucial level 10 to level up your abilities because you can already use puncture. I mean, this is... I think this has some potential. I don't know. Pretty interesting stuff from Supline so far. Or he's just going to maps, you know, and...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this character is planned to... it's the next build, so you want to not miss any passives, obviously. Gotta go do that lab as well. I wonder if we'll see a lab before Kitava.
Oh no, a triple green for our player Supline over here, and he didn't quite have the wisdom scrolls for it. He had to sell some of the other valuables that he's got in his inventory, but any little bit of speed fluctuation such as this will cost you a lot of time, and those seconds really add up. He does have a longbow as well. That's going to be very useful as soon as he hits level 9. Keldorn will be the first player to enter Warden's quarters. Alex not far behind. Ben getting a little bit lost with the layouts, but finds his way eventually. And I really do wonder what's going to happen with Supline. Maybe that second Quicksilver would be a lot more useful for them. He might be going for a weapon swap, Leap Slam. I got to be honest with you guys. I haven't seen enough Ranger racing to know whether or not Ranger even gets Leap Slam, but... you could potentially... Okay, here's
we're seeing the lab trial, Rise. We're seeing the lab trial. What do you make of this? He's going for that labyrinth. I think you're right. Okay. Right. This might be the mapping character here for Supline. Just showing just how fast they are at leveling their mapping character to be in name and lights at the top of the race here as well. But that will hurt their chances at getting an ExileCon qualifier, I do suspect.
Oh man, there's been a lot of because there's some cool strategies. Okay, there is like weapon swap, leap slamming. There's blink arrow skipping with frost blink, and it's actually super fast. But nobody has access to blink arrow other than a ranger, because on a duelist you need like a secondary weapon, even if you do end up getting a blink arrow somehow, and blah blah blah. But it only really works on a ranger, and I don't think that's going to be happening here for Supline. So as players have already taken down Brutus, might be an opportune time to really bring back the Quantric with their second Quicksilver. I think... I'd
love to see a bit of ranger action, though. Very cool. We'll get Quantric in for the moment, and we'll see if there's anyone else that we can check in on as well who's looking strong. It looks like Quantric has just finished his Brutus kill, and Keldon, Alex Publord currently... leading with Ben not too far behind there as well from the looks of things.
Ooh, wow, Quantric already buying a lightning warp for those crucial skips later on in Act 4. Okay, I see you. He seems to have enough currency. Players will most likely be going back to Act 1 after they get their Act 2 passive point. So it's pretty shows a whole lot of confidence as he drops another transmute. That you know, he's not going to run into any currency problems here. A great layout read from Quantric, almost. Other players not having the same problem, as Keldorn will be the first person with these tricky layouts to enter the Cavern of Wrath, and already utilizing a Leap Slam setup. He's already got his sword, he's got his axe, and this man is going fast at 1330. Not too shabby.
I'm wondering why we're not seeing our leap slams from Quantric yet. I don't know if he doesn't have his weapons secured. He's got a pair of swords there. He does have the red-green, but he just hasn't set it up yet, it looks like. He went through a whole zone there without leap slamming, which definitely slowed him down a little bit, and Keldon and Alex Publord pulling a little bit further ahead into that Cavern of Wrath there, with Ben also just starting his Cavern of Wrath run too. So it looks like Ben and Alex Publord pretty close together right now, with Keldon being a little bit ahead in Cavern of Anger now. So we'll be getting to Mervell first from the looks of things. I do have some insight as well. I'm hearing from the production crew that mystery player Gurast might be streaming on another account who we might be able to bring in now. So let's go ahead. We assume it's the same. We assume it's the same person. We'll bring them in here. And we do see them just starting their Mervell kill. Neck and neck with Keldon, actually. Looks like Keldon maybe just slightly ahead in the fight there. dropping some big damage on first form Merveil. She does teleport away, as she is likely to do, but he does get the kill on that first form, moving her into that second form. So nice grab right there. Guagura or Grast possibly.
Oh, Keldorn
with a big upset. No, Keldorn. Hopes and dreams potentially dashed with that death right
Grast. there. Garuga dropping low as well. I was gonna mention you can see the 4 flask strategy being in fact busted out. I was gonna talk about how Quantric having a second Quicksilver might actually slow them down on Brutus because he only has to be able to use 1 flask, and you really got to optimize your play. I know Keldorn has been struggling a little bit from the other qualifiers that we've seen with his flask management, and it seems to have cost his life here. But despite the 4 flask strategy, Garuga triumphs over Merveil. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Alex also going very low there in second form to one of the water pillars there, but does manage to just barely recover with that medium life flask. Ben on 2 smalls has to be much more careful here, especially with any of these water pillars coming up underneath him or any of those little explodey squids spawning in. Got to be very careful with that with only small life flasks. That is no recovery, but so much damage and gets a very fast kill there. Nonetheless, Ben not even breaking a sweat right now on 2 small life flasks.
I was eagerly awaiting to see where Keldorn will land. So players have been asking, or people in the chat have been asking, why? What happens if you die? Well, you get a 1-minute penalty. You have to sit in town, and you're also forced to respawn in town. Yep. And whether or not you're going to be able to get back to where you were previously is going to be very dependent on whether or not you've been picking up waypoints. And for Keldorn, the last waypoint that they picked up wasn't one that they picked up. It was one that they got by default. Which is
brutal. Definitely a big upset for Keldorn. Yeah, that's like the 1 minute can be recovered from. We've seen that before. We saw Taitakiller win with a 1-minute death penalty, but dying at a boss and then missing 2 waypoints is absolutely brutal. That's at a few extra minutes to the timer there. So it looks like Keldorn will be dropping out of our top 4 now, and we'll find out who will be replacing them for the moment. But very big upset for Keldorn. They had a very strong shot today. We'll see if they can make a comeback, but definitely a brutal, brutal death for them there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see him he keeps going. There's definitely a lot of potential for any of these players to die in this event. Everybody's taking a lot of risks. Merveil is definitely not the fight that you would ever want to die in. Having those safety portals might just save a player's life, but you know, sometimes you just can't spare the portal. You need the additional wisdom scrolls, and we've been seeing some of these players already struggling with that. As I think maybe we can bring back Quantric and see how they're doing, as players are fluctuating a lot when it comes to XP.
I'll get them in there.
Quantric done with his Merveil.
Quantric doing pretty well on the ladder there as well. So, yeah, leap slamming through crossroads right now. Very nice job from Quantric there in the background. So we'll swap them and bring them in there just a little bit behind. Not that much, actually. So you see some of the players in Chamber of Sins 2, Alex Playbob in Chamber of Sins 1, and Quantric just starting their Chamber of Sins 1 right now as well. We do have a rip as well, which is probably a good time to check it out now. We have the clip. In case you missed it, here is Keldorn's upset against Merveil. Taking down that first form okay there. Dodges very cleanly. The icicle fall there. Moves into that second form. It's getting kind of pinned in a little bit there. Eats the scream and teleports and still getting jagged by the edge of that scream there. So tries to get out of that after taking a bit too much damage and realizing I'm kind of penned in the corner there, but not able to secure quite enough distance on that Frostblink there, and it's still just on the edge of that scream, it looked like.
Yeah, sometimes you end up being so concerned about those little statue ladies that tend to hit super duper hard with physical damage that you kind of forget about the cold resistance that you need for this fight. And when there's enough overlap of those abilities, it might just cost you the event. But Keldorn not giving up. He's going to keep going. We've been seeing really good sportsmanship from them so far. So I'm hoping to see him come back from this. Again, a lot of potential for any of these players dying. We will be seeing different strategies here when it comes to Act 2. Players will be focusing on different things as Ben actually logs out.
Fair call on the safety log. Definitely a loss of time for sure, but better than a death. And goes and upgrades that small life flask. I said earlier, not sweating on the small life flasks. At least didn't have to run too far to catch back up, but realized, okay, these small life loss are too much of a liability. There's a red beast there, a ton of monsters, really angry, and those small life loss just simply cannot keep up. We saw them just trying to heal for so long. They're just like 20 seconds of trying to heal and being nearly dead. And
yeah, it's one of those things where you just don't want to concern yourself too much about the flask until you get to Weaver. But if you get hit with a nasty bleed from the nasty beast,
Boots.
Ben, farming out boots, what is going on? He can get 15 MS from any of those. He doesn't pick up all of them. And Ben, looks out again as he's fighting a blue pack of fire-resistant mobs. And he re-enters the same zone. He doesn't remake the zone.
What? He's going back in for more. Ben has not had enough. He's realized this is a very
he wants revenge.
he's like, I got like 10 rare boots from this zone. I'm not leaving. I don't care if I nearly died twice. Oh my lord. He's just like, I'm going to skip that pack this time. It's like some sort of roguelike just in this zone here. It's like I get a little further every time.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the stuff that I have been seeing from Ben practicing. He does have these moments, and he still really puts out incredibly good times as he drops down the Holy Flame Totem. Interesting, to be honest. A lot of players will be utilizing that ability for the Weaver fight. It is pretty important. It heals you up. It tanks for you. If you don't have good enough flasks, it might just save your life. You know, sometimes you get a really bad blue mob spawn on Weaver as well. It can be a very difficult fight, and if you log out, you have to rerun a big chunk of the zone. If you put down a portal, well, you've lost that portal for a potential re-entrance to the zone. But that might be less than a minute. I don't know. Tricky stuff. Ben, no flasks. Jeez, Ben. Looking, maybe, you know, maybe without those other qualifier practices, he's just kind of running into a little bit of a performance issue here on
still
the
so
live
fast,
setting. Yeah, it's still going fast.
It's like
an
3
augment for Quantric.
Weaver kills going on right now. Alex and Ben. With Quantric just about to... oh, yeah, look at all that loot. Very nice. Just about to move into their kill right now. Ben's surely picking up some movement speed from those like 8 pairs of boots in their inventory, but currently is reliant on the 2 blue link on their current boots, so you don't want to be in that place. You don't want to rely on the sockets on your boots. So that is restricting Ben's gear swaps right now. So we'll see if they can fix that problem soon.
Yeah, it's one of those things also that you don't want to see a triple blue dagger for Alex there, but unfortunately you cannot in fact leap slam with a dagger, so he's gonna have to vendor it, probably frustrated that that is not in fact an item that he can utilize. Quantric picking up a lot of gear as well. We've seen him kill a ghost, and I think it's showing that he's struggling quite a lot here.
I saw the absolute classic moment from Ben there where he tried to vendor all 4 pairs of boots to get the ult shards, and
it gave him a new pair.
5 pairs of boots. He got a new pair. He had to vendor those as well. So didn't get any shards, just a new pair of boots, which he didn't want. It's happened to us all, has it not? Right? With those packs every time. Yeah. A little bit unfortunate there, but was not looking for the movement speed. Apparently happy with the boots they've got. Not too worried about that. Just looking for the currency, but didn't get it.
I think I'm seeing 15 MS boots for Quantric though. So picking up all that gear, definitely beginning to pay off, as he has been struggling with gear quite a lot. He is in fact still on that 2-link that we initially mentioned on the helmet. No 3-link. I have seen Quantric in Ben's chat right before the event talking about how he prays to the Lord himself, Chris Wilson, that he's gonna get that triple blue, but he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. We have a little bit of a report from the background there that another player just kind of like pressuring the top 4 here. Mosh47, who I'm unfamiliar with, is currently topping the XP and is about in the same progression as Ben, so not quite leading the pack in terms of progression, but that XP lead certainly potentially helping them in the upcoming run. So very interesting to see. We're not looking really at a top 4 right now, but actually rather a top 5, which we can't unfortunately fit top 5 races on the screen. It doesn't really work that way. Just a little tiny overlay in the middle or something would be funny. But
I will gladly give you a rundown on the legend himself, Mosh, who is an extremely long-term Path of Exile player. He's had really incredible performances in the past in different races, in different formats, long-term races. He's a returning player, and he's just one of those guys that sometimes busts out an incredibly good time, and that just might be one of those things that we're seeing here right now. He is on a Templar though, so a little bit out of the ordinary for them. They do tend to play a lot of melee builds, but we haven't seen players be stopped by that fact that they are playing something different than they usually are, and they've quickly adjusted a blue fire-resistant pack for Gura, which is unfortunate.
Quadri's got like a ghosted
God.
rare rower inside of the oak fight. I've never seen that before.
Yep.
A little bit of extra loot, not too bad, gets the kill, and manages to pin Oak in a corner there, and he doesn't even move for basically the whole fight. Actually, a very clean fight, funnily enough.
Yeah, that was
after,
nice.
an unexpected scenario, which those little unexpected moments where Pee-wee does something it's never done before can definitely throw you a little bit. But Quantric, not even worried. Very nice kill there.
And Gura is really flying. Even that Northern Forest with those blue mobs hasn't slowed them down. Northern Forest, a very important zone when it comes to XP. This is the zone where you will be trying to hit your breakpoints, make sure that you set yourself up. Sometimes in caverns, it's difficult to not just read the layouts, but also get through the ancient pyramid and kill enough mobs. But not for Gura. Level 20 already, even prior to the waypoint. And level 20 is really where you want to be at Vol. So we might even potentially see a level 21 there. At 26 minutes into this race, that is really freaking good. Will they have the correct layout here? Will they have the correct read on it anyway? They are, in fact, in a zone where they could potentially be going directly to the left, but they go towards the middle. Going to the right will never result in the correct thing. Checking the top left, so going for the safety play here, but if it's not top left, then they would run into a big problem, but it is a really good layout read from Gura, and that's going to save them a lot of time. Will they get the 1 in 3? Again, going for the middle of the ancient pyramid. So in the initial layout of the ancient pyramid, it can be in any of the 3 corners, top left, left, or right. In this layout in particular, gets it on the second try, and on every second floor, it is across. So now that he knows where he's gone before, he can just go to the top right in this zone, and he's going to immediately be able to find the layout. He sees it on the map, but doesn't go there immediately, wasting a little bit of time, but not going to cost him too much. As
we just see a massive
with Einhar.
We just see a massive amount of XP for Ben there after a rare kill, possibly XP rare there as well. So possibly shooting up that ladder on the XP gain there. And we did say Gura stopping and killing a fire-resistant rare, which is an unusual choice, but nonetheless still maintaining their lead. Ben also just using that like extra 2 levels of XP to pick up the passives for the
and look at Ben's screen
and go and so fast.
Huge misread from Ben.
Yeah, that hurts.
Going
that
directly to the left. I mean, that really is the safety play. But it's a different zone. He's had Einar in his zone, so it's different, which is an unfortunate issue that we have, that when there is an Einar, the layout of the zone is mostly the same, which in the case of caverns, it can only really be left or right. But it does change where the exit's going to be, and it happens to be the most unfortunate of issues. Still, nonetheless, a misread, but a very, very unfortunate zone for Ben. He really gets punished there heavily. Or maybe did Ben have the Einhar, or did Gura have the Einhar? Hold on. I'm watching. It seems like everybody's got a different layout. Because Alex has a different one too, and Quantric. So to anybody that doesn't know, it should be fixed seed, but there is a little bit of a cheeky bug that we have, which is that when Einhar shows up, Einhar doesn't care about the rules, and he changes the layouts in a way that isn't the same for everybody in this event. So, but it was in fact Ben's layout was the standard one, and Gura was the one with the lucky. They don't need any luck more; they're already in the lead. But yeah, Alex running into the exact same problem, and Quantric running into the same issue. So you can see that if that zone is different, all these players, they went for the safety play, but ended up making the same exact mistake that Gura just didn't have to consider whatsoever, and that will solidify their current lead, excuse me. Man, Gura, this is going to be hard to catch up to. We're already in Act 3.
Yeah, we saw a pretty decent effort on the Val kill there for Ben. Did get rocks, which does force you to move every few seconds, but Ben really like knowing how to tread the line there and take a bit of damage from the rocks without it being too much, just to squeeze that bit of extra damage in. So trying to shave off seconds wherever they can to catch up to Gura here, and we'll see how they go. Don't forget to talk to Clarissa. I've done that before.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not something you want to have to go back for, but we see Gura looking about a zone ahead at the moment as they are in Crematorium now, skipping
And
one
such
extra
a good
zone.
read.
Yeah,
Such a good read on Crematorium. If it is Gurust, in fact, they did have a huge problem with reading this zone in a past race.
Yes.
It cost them a lot of time, but not this time. A perfect read, knew exactly where to go. Man, Gura looking really invincible right now.
We've been seeing him get better and better every race, and like that last race, they were looking in very fine form. If they pull out another race like that today, then they are going to be nearly unstoppable. But, you know, we have to wait and see whether there's any sort of like adversity or upset to really test that mentality, because that's the real question there. That's the Achilles heel, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
See if they can keep
Yeah,
it
and
together.
it's also being a little bit of a mystery player, you know, that might be a play into whether or not they're actually going to show up at ExileCon. So it doesn't necessarily mean that these players aren't playing for the win, even if Gura does end up winning. It being a mystery might make
Mysteries
the
abound
final
with these
participant
races.
tricky.
Quantric also getting the rocks and managing pretty well, playing a little bit safer, staying out of the rock fall, but very nice stutter step micro there in between casts, so looking very nice. Not getting hit by even the chill there. Dodges the laser as well. Very nice. Ooh, yeah. Refined kill there.
Yeah, but look at the gems. They didn't get to level up their gems. So
Aww.
even though
Oh,
a
no.
pretty clean kill, it could be so much faster.
That's true. Missed out on the XP. We have Mosh, who we mentioned earlier, currently taking the lead over Quantric. So goodbye, Quantric. I told you we're going to be ruthless this time. We are able to get our first little look here at Mosh 47. It looks to be just a bit ahead currently in the slums, heading towards their crematorium. So pretty close, just slightly ahead of our schedule.
Are you seeing that skip? That is a spicy skip right there from Mosh. Saved himself quite a lot of time. And that's a difficult one because you kind of... I mean, I believe it was by accident, but you kind of have to dead zone yourself to be able to do that. Gura checking up on the skip in Marketplace. I do believe that they have not, in fact, the correct read. Hold on. Yeah, Gura, not with the correct read in Marketplace. I've studied this layout a lot, and they could have saved themselves a lot of time. It's not going to be on the right. It's going to be in the middle. And, yeah, running into a little bit of a problem there.
Rise flexing his hours of Marketplace practice there.
So much fun practicing that zone. It's actually a really fun zone to practice. I don't know.
Nonetheless, Gura maintaining their lead, maybe just losing a couple seconds there in Marketplace, and we'll see how they go through the battlefront here. But scooping up a nice little bit of extra XP here, it looks like.
Yeah, but all of that adds up, right? Gura saved himself a little bit of time earlier in that caverns. I mean, to be honest, they saved themselves a lot of time, but any amount of seconds add up, and especially when it comes to Gura, because if it is the same player as Gurust, then they tend to do really well in Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, and then Act 4 and Act 5, they slow down a lot. In the previous qualifier, or in the very last one, we've seen a very solid Act 4 and a pretty good Act 5. But with everybody practicing so much, and especially, well, not mystery players, but players who we haven't seen in the previous qualifiers participating, such as Mosh, we might see some more experienced play from other participants.
Very fast pack there, almost taking Mosh down, but manages it very nicely. And knowing when to get out of there, or in that case, to push for damage to kill or stun the pack, is key to survival in some of these moments, and Mosh does manages to get through off that nasty hasted pack there.
Ben taking down the unique doggy in the dogs as he gets nailed by some phase run mobs. Jeez, that's a lot of damage.
It's like a full barrage of ice shots there, it looked like as well from the ghosts. Ben is just like, that seems to be the flavor of Ben's day today, is just like taking huge amounts of damage.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
and
has
I
much
mean,
of the
even if
fast
you
now.
look at his gear, he's got 374 life compared to somebody like Gura that's got 451, Mosh has 440, Alex only with 368 now as they've leveled up. Yeah, the HP differences are getting pretty big. We're gonna have to see whether or not the determination is going to come into play. I know that for Ben, that's not going to be the case, but will any of the other players opt to go for it? Mosh checking his layout and does have the correct read, I believe. Is trying to... No, he's trying to go top left. Mosh! Not going to be able to save themselves time there. A lot of players sticking around in the docks despite already finding the item. A really good zone for XP. Gura hitting level 25. Still looking for the item, however. Now finally finds it. Still continues to kill that blue pack. And... continuing to clear. Okay, so Gura not happy with their XP, searching for more blue packs. They know that they have the possibility of killing at least 2 more very efficiently, and they're big. Those are big blue mobs. Gura takes them down quickly, and will they be going for another one? Gems level up, but he's not high enough level to be able to...
Yeah, Gura just power spiked after heading back to their hideout and crafting their fire damage and their resistances. So just got a huge amount of extra damage, and Dox is a big XP gain if you have that extra damage to be able to kill those packs quickly, and potentially even some of the rares and stuff like that. Like you said, currently gem level locked, so does need to secure the rest of that level, but he'll have that by the time he gets to Piety, and that's the main thing, getting that extra level by then.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally you do have the situation, as much as the layouts are normalized and shrines are, although we have not been seeing a whole lot of vol zones and shrines. The previous qualifiers have been riddled with them. Just so many vol zones, so many shrines. Really none here so far. But every now and then you are able to get that XP rare mob. And if you recognize that it's one of those mobs and you kill it, you can get even upwards of half a level and so much gem XP that it ends up being worth it, even though typically you would be skipping rare mobs altogether for sure. Another ghost, though. A lot of ghosts for Alex. He's fighting a ghosted mob. It's interesting that players are choosing to do so. It does show that they're struggling with gear most likely. Oh, wow. Interesting. Mosh forgets his waypoint and has to run back for it. Uh-oh.
We saw Ben skip his waypoint there, which after the earlier logouts, I would be a little bit hesitant about that myself. I'd be like, oh, what if I have to have another situation like that again? Losing that that first waypoint there would be pretty devastating if you did have to log, but thankfully makes it through cleanly. Gura being very fast, but also very aggressive posturing right now. I'm seeing a lot of like recklessly jumping into packs, but maybe not recklessly, maybe confidently. Very aggressive looking play from Gura right now. Perhaps is, maybe a little frustrated with some of the previous weeks and really wants to show that they are going to take it with a huge lead potentially today.
Yeah, and Gura's had some really incredible Lunara's reads in the past. No skip for this one, but still a really good read. Will be able to save themselves a lot of time. And Lunara's is also a pretty good zone when it comes to XP. The packs tend to be pretty clumped up and pretty big. A lot of blue mobs on the way. So very much managing and handling things there. But still, on their level, those gems are just so high up if you compare it to Alex, who is able to level up most of their gems.
Wonder if they get a gem XP nemesis or something like that. Which, ping their gems up and stop them from being able to level them for a while. Which, I mean, is a good problem to have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's better than the other way around where your gems are under-leveled. It's better for them to be over-leveled, so as soon as you level up, you get to the next level with them. But that's a pretty clean Piety. She just kind of walks around alongside the rolling magma. Gura able to hit multiple times every time. Really good stuff.
That was a very fast Piety kill there. Kind of locked her in the corner at the end there and secured a very nice kill. And looks like he's pretty sorted now. Do we see... Was that some anger there, it looked like?
I think so.
Yeah,
That
so
is, in
going
fact, anger
aggressively on the
and
line, yeah.
determination, both.
Oh, both. No, the swap between the two, depending on the situation, potentially.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. I I really wonder. When are
Ben
they
with
going to
a
start
huge
using it? Still
misread on the
double heralds.
Lunaris too. Oof, goes the wrong way and gets the dead end and has to come all the way back there. Definitely losing a little bit of time there on that Lunaris 2 layout. Not as
Yeah,
we saw a
one.
very clean run through for Gura, so losing a little bit of catch-up time there, unfortunately.
Yeah, when you're unexperienced when it comes to layouts in Lunaris Temple 2, one piece of advice that I can absolutely give you is never go left. Okay, there are situations in which you should, but if you're unexperienced, 90% of the time it's going to be to the right. So you don't want to be running into the same issue that Ben has, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. But you know, he does get a little bit of XP. He did end up running back and not TPing out or exiting the game and taking the waypoint back. But Gura will be the first player to enter Scepter of God. Still, those gems are looking super levelable very soon. Very good read on the layout as well. Man, Gura looking so good, as they will be the first person to get level 28. So no problems there. Cremation should be online if they have the gems. I do believe that I've seen a Chance Orb in their inventory. Yes, they already have everything bought. Everything's equipped very soon. Man, that is an incredible run.
I think Ben might have had a bit of trouble getting their currencies together. Hopefully, they've been able to rectify that situation there by the time that they need to swap into cremation there. But we'll see in the lead up to Dominus just how well that goes. But Gura not too far away now from their own Dominus kill, and Ben is a Scepter of God behind at this point. So Gura just absolutely flying, and Ben can't afford to lose those few seconds that he's been losing every here and there.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't see any fusing. I don't see any Chance Orb in their inventory. I don't. Oh, they already have the cremation though, so it's all good. No reason to panic. Still in control. As long as you hit that level 28 before Dominus, you're totally set up. A portal drop for Gura. No safety portal though. That's a mistake that we've seen from many players. For Exile, it almost cost him his first qualifier, where he had a giant rerun of the upper Scepter of God zone without that safety portal. Interesting. I mean, risky stuff, especially when the boss literally drops you a portal. You might want to take it. 509 HP. How much lightning resistance they have? A insufficient amount to face tank. Has to dodge quite a lot. Will cost him a little bit of time, but nothing too brutal when it comes to cremation use, as you tend to set it up and just kind of leave the boss alone and let them do that damage. Inventory management, very important stuff. A blue-green on a chess piece for Gura. How much single target will they be able to put out here? Looking pretty okay. Obviously, players at this stage of the game will not have access to Elemental Overload, something that they will be respeccing into later on, dropping a lot of rare items and skips past them. A very clean kill for Gura. Will they be going for any additional packs in the Aqueducts, as you do get those guaranteed blue mobs? No. Speed is most important. I think they think that they have everything that they need, and now all they need is just go fast, kill monster fast, a motto of Tide 23, and it's being utilized here fully, which might be an indicator of who we're watching right now.
The strategy we're seeing for auras, and it makes a lot of sense, is determination while moving through zones where the unexpected things can happen. You know, those mobs can catch you off guard, you can face check a pack, you're playing much more recklessly as you're moving through those zones. So that determination is up providing a lot of extra comforting safety blanket security. And then the swap to anger for the bosses. So we did see Gura running anger on the boss kill and then swapping to determination as they were moving between zones. All they have to do is just do a quick little alternate hotkey tap, and the auras are swapped over. So a very nice idea there, as long as you have the extra red sockets, which is not too hard just to get two loose red sockets together. So especially, you know, on those armory pieces of gear. So very nice little tech there, and I think we'll probably see a lot of players doing this, transitioning into this strategy.
Yeah, despite all the problems, Ben already fighting Malachi, or Dominus, excuse me, as well, as Gura has already approached Vol. Will this be a clean kill? Vol immediately charging, so they will be standing in that regeneration. They're picking up some items, but Again, looking really, really on point. Alex trying to handle their inventory. Maybe you might want to wait for when you're waiting for Dominus to switch the phases there. But we don't want to see a player dying while running around with items on their cursor. We have seen that from Havoc, and
Yeah.
it pretty much
Yes.
killed his run in, I believe, the second qualifier. So that's not a risk that you want to be taking right now, but sometimes it's just necessary, you know? You want to be set up for that fight. And this is the tricky part, right? There's a couple different zones where setting up your inventory is just so difficult, and Upper Scepter of God is absolutely one of those. You hit level 28 well midway through, and you just got to put those gems in. You don't have any time to spare.
What I like here is I'm seeing a lot of links on the Wave of Conviction for Ben, so that thing chunks pretty hard, so there's a nice little bit of extra damage there if you can get those sockets sorted out in such a situation where you can have, you know, that in maybe like a 4 link along with another item to give you that 2-3 links and a nice bit of extra damage on the boss kills there. It looks like we do have the 4 link boots, so that's how they've managed to do that. 2 skills in the 4 link boots and 2 supports. So a double 3 link that you wouldn't normally have, which is very nice.
Yeah, but Ben picks up all the items, has to log out. He's been struggling with transmutes. I'm not quite sure if his other weapon had the craft on it.
Oh.
He just crafted his axe offhand.
He doesn't have the
It's really
Armageddon
good,
brand
but
as well.
kind of late.
Yeah, I think he wasn't able to get that currency together to get both of those, because I think it's a choice, right? I'm getting brand and then cremation, and then you get the other one. So I don't think he was able to get the currency together for that, which is unfortunate, because those 2 skills pair together very nicely.
Yeah. Absolutely so. Crystal Veins entered by Gura. Pretty good read so far, going super fast, and we'll be seeing the struggles from the previous races here. So far, not really. Act 4 looking super solid. Entering... No, actually going for the Combs Dream first. So I don't believe that there's going to be any swapping of the zones. This is a pretty good indicator when it comes to how good they're feeling about their XP. And it's got to be pretty good if they're skipping blue mobs like the Golem pack. Golems tend to be very tanky, but these players are putting out so much damage that... I do wonder what level they're at exactly. Were they be hitting level 31 here? Maybe. The ladder is a little bit behind because of the API. And he skips from Gura, going for the skip. Lightning Warp is present. Pretty clean. Second click.
Very
okay.
nice.
But are they level 31 or are they getting 31 now? I mean, they've got to already be 31 if they're feeling this good about their XP. You tend to kind of clear both of the initial zones for Comb and Deresso, and then go into the next level zone that is level 38, the previous zones being 37. You don't want to be too under-leveled to really get hit by that giant penalty. Mobs aren't giving him a whole lot of XP. Really makes you think, are they 31? Man, I don't think so. 31 now. Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of efficiency loss there. I don't know. I mean, it's the same amount of loading screens, but
yeah, slightly
less XP.
reckless perhaps, or just feeling confident. Got that fire
Maybe,
resistance sorted out as well. So just going straight for it.
7 portal scrolls too. Pretty important stuff. Going for that. Oh man, so much nice management. Takes off the chest piece while running through town.
Yeah.
So clean. Will they be going for the skips in the Resa's Dream though? This has been a pretty contentious topic. Are you opening the cages?
He's going for
getting
it.
the
But he missed
XP?
it.
Oh no, he's got it. He's got it. It's a big one too. This one's hard. This one's really hard. You have to use Lightning Warp here. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get around. And that's good. That's really clean. That skip is so difficult that a lot of players just opt to go for the cage kill. But the problem is that the cages are so spread out as well that you just kind of end up taking a whole lot more time. There's also sometimes 4 cages and you can only have 3 cremations set up. Man, such a clean run from Gura. That is a very difficult skip to perform. Honestly, really well done.
Yeah, I was sorry, you missed the initial Frostblink and had to use Leap Slam, so as to not lose a bunch of time waiting for that to come off cooldown. And even took a little step, but didn't activate the cages still, so kind of perfectly managed to pull that off. Certainly would have been rough if you hadn't managed to.
That was really, really good. But man,
I don't think I've seen that one on the big cage like that. That's very cool to see.
Yeah, I mean it's very hard because typically the cages are a lot closer to each other, so you actually have to
Yeah.
use lightning warp for that one because you can't get away from like one cage to the next one. So if you didn't take the time to get lightning warp or blink arrow or whatever, and you can see that with Ben, he doesn't even think about it twice. He doesn't even go for it. He's like, okay, this is the long skip. I'm just gonna commit here. But it is pretty good, you know. It is a lot of XP. Ben only now hitting
Yeah.
level 30, so they are full zone behind as Gura has already done their comb kill and will now be fighting against Deresso. How good is that cold resistance? Deresso, a very difficult fight. Sometimes the swords spawn in you and you just die. We've seen a whole lot of rips, but very clean so far. Oh no, Ben will be dying to chickens, his worst enemy.
Chickens, no.
The classic Ben chicken rip. Oh.
Poor Ben goes down to a big old pack of chickens there, leaps right into the middle of them from the looks of things. We'll get a clip
Ben,
here in a
log
moment.
in.
As I blinked and I missed it.
Is he done?
Is he? I think he might
Why?
be done.
You were still
Oh.
Ben. He deleted the character, Ben.
Oh, no. Hopes and dreams. A very nice showing from Ben with a big upset there to finish their run. Our hopes and dreams dashed
Man.
with a side of chicken. Very brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been a mental struggle from the get-go. Act 1 being very dicey, having to log out in Act 2. This has had to have been a very difficult race for Ben, so props to him for keeping up as well as they did, but, you know, the chickens always win. I don't know, there's just something about him. Ben has lost a gauntlet previously due to an unfortunate chicken accident in the past, so...
Oh no, the legacy. Brutal. We'll get ourselves a clip here in just a second. Looks like now is a pretty good time, so let's go ahead and bring that up. If you did miss it, it was Ben's unfortunate upset. He leaps over these packs pretty nicely. Herald of Thunder doing some work there, and ooh, gets stunned as he leaps straight into that.
The double stun.
Yeah, the double stun.
If he had the determination, that would have made all the difference there.
It wasn't on the determination. Yeah, it might well have prevented that stun and certainly a lot of damage. So, I mean, those were just physical slaps, right? So would have made a big difference.
Especially when you're watching Gura, the way that they're approaching all these fights is that whenever they're traversing through the zone, determination is active. Whenever they're fighting a boss and they know that they're in control of a mechanic that they're used to, they're switching to anger. And you saw that from that piety that, well, we kind of missed because we were watching a kill and it's just so fast. But yeah, that's the strat, and it seems to be working. Double mana flask and no life flask present for Gura right now. They do have the waypoint, so a logout is a possibility. And you can see determination goes off, anger goes on. And I think they're going to make quick work of Malagaro here. Very quick work, in fact. I think one of the things that we've been seeing in the past races is that players have not been quite optimal when it comes to their cremation. A very important thing that you want to be doing is immediately replacing cremation as soon as the boss moves. It's just crucial. It's so important. You pretty much should skip everything else. Neglect the wave of conviction. You don't care about no flame wall. Armageddon brand, that doesn't do damage. You want to be praising your cremations as soon as possible. You want that 100% uptime every time, especially if you can get a boss under a wall, as it just happened for Gura. And Chevron will be the next one to fall with just one mini boss remaining, and some people would say the most tricky one. It's Dodgery.
Yeah, we have seen some upsets from her spit. Just almost Gura going down there, going down to like sub 5% hit points right there. Takes another big hit. Was in the
and Gura using determination, showing respect for Dodgery. Yeah, so this is the tricky part. You could see that immediately Gura went to the vulnerability, right? Because you want to be standing on vulnerability. You don't want to be on temporal chains or enfeebled. That stuff slows you down. But as soon as they got hit, the strategy quickly changed. And now vulnerability was no longer a possibility despite the determination. We'll be turning it off and now going into anger, feeling confident when it comes to Malachi. Even after that, very, well, pretty close call for sure.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because the tech is to swap to anger for the boss fights for faster boss kills, but staying on determination and that quite literally saved their life because that amount of health remaining, that definitely would have been a death without that extra armor. So nice, just barely saved life there for Gura. But you're talking about the cremation earlier. This is a good showcase fight for that, actually. Not so much this phase, but the next phase with the hearts and the teleporting boss
Keldorn.
having those cremations pre-placed.
Ziggy, look at Kildorn's screen. He's struggling. He's surrounded by mobs trying to go for the skip. It's going to be difficult. So this skip is so hard when it comes to that. If you have mobs around you, it tends to modify the hitbox of the skip. And it actually makes it so bad for them. And it shows how difficult this can be if you don't quite clear things well enough. Sorry for interrupting you, Ziggy, but
no.
A pretty good display.
Yeah. There was a tense moment there for Keldorn as the mobs creeped up on them. I actually had to swap to the other side and clear the mobs from that side to be able to cleanly get up the lava fall. So losing a bit of time there. A bit of drama for sure. Meanwhile, Gura in their Malachi fight, looking very fast so far. The almost perfectly pre-placed cremation on the third heart there, and pre-placed and guiding the boss to your cremations, actually. Like, where you stand, that's where the boss goes. So standing on top of your own cremations. Ooh, and a very nice just exit straight through the portal there. Just Frost blinks into the portal as the boss dies, ignoring the loot. We don't need no loot. Gura is set up and ready for the rest of this run at this point. And again, that little chest management, taking that chest armor off for a couple steps to get that little movement speed boost through town. Very nice.
This is an incredible run. I mean, if you look at the time, we're at 55 minutes and 50 seconds. And with Gura already in the ascent, this might be the fastest time that we've seen yet. It might be a rip. The determination is so clutch. Those Wendigos do so much damage. They flicker strike on top of you. But with the determination present, they don't stand a chance. Man, this level of min-maxing is really showing what it takes to be a top contender. And if you snooze, you lose. Not the case for Gura. Really well done there.
Yeah, we're seeing so many close calls just barely averted there by the determination tech. So definitely a very good idea, especially with how like aggressively Gura is playing in this race. And I mean, I think you're right. I think this, without any big upsets, cast a curse pending, we might be seeing one of the fastest times we've seen in any qualifier yet.
Yeah, this is a pretty good indicator of things is going to be, well, first of all, Gura is not checking friends list. They don't know where the other players are. I haven't seen them type /ladder. Maybe they're checking the ladder on another monitor, but you know, with the API delays, it might make all the difference. But I think they're most concerned about their own play. And because of that,
good mindset, I think that could be an adjustment from the previous week's mindset issues. You know, if you pay too much attention to what other people do, it can get under your skin.
Is there a big skip? No big skip. Okay, Gura checking for the big skip in control blocks will not actually be the case. Did they have an Einhard? No, I don't think so. So no problems there. Sorry again for interrupting you, Ziggy, but like these zones just go by so quickly.
That's what we're here for. It's hard to watch these 4 screens all at once, so that's why there's 2 of us, right? We each put one eye on 2 of the races, and that's 4 eyes, 4 races. That's how we run this, by the way. Wondering.
Yeah, but in the case of Gura, we've been seeing a lot of adjustments to the previous strategies, a lot of mistakes that they've made. They're not making now, but the biggest mistake from the very, I believe, first qualifier was, well, not taking the safe route and not picking up waypoints, which is what I'm getting at all along. And they will be clicking the waypoint. Okay, so despite not knowing where the other contenders are seemingly, they do know that they are in the lead. They do get the name in lights, and they are picking up waypoints. So another adjustments to the strategy. Slows you down a little bit, but this time is already so incredible. 58 minutes and 20 seconds. We'll soon be entering the Chambers of Innocence.
Between Keldon, Alex, and Mosh, we're seeing a very close race. We're seeing the peak performance of what human beings can achieve here. For those, is he okay? He's okay.
He's okay, but that was like 3 HP and no flasks. You can see the panic spam immediately.
The vibe I'm getting is from those 3 races, we're seeing the peak performance of human being racing there. And then we look up at Gura in the top right, who is like more than a zone ahead at this point. And I just think that this is a Terminator. This is the peak performance of Terminators, rather, or computer systems. right there. Just inhuman looking racing right now from Gura. Multiple zones ahead, actually.
Management just so good. The mana flask always filled up. The XP is just impeccable. Are they getting the Chamber of Innocence waypoint? They are going towards it, and they will be clicking. Okay,
Good call.
I mean,
that
the
was an upset in a
respect is
previous
in.
week. Yeah, that was a huge upset. Died, or had to logo or died on Innocence. I can't quite recall, but did not have the waypoint and just GG'd out at the prospect of having to rerun the entire zones. And I mean, if anything would upset the current lead, it would be something like that, an upset at Innocence with a missing waypoint. Could definitely do it.
And this time is looking so good. And you can also see from Gura that they don't get baited. There's a corrupted zone in the Chamber of Innocence. We've seen that in the first event, but they've learned the layout. They've adjusted their play. And the same way that we've seen all 4 players in our lead in the first qualifier get baited by that corrupted zone, that will not be the case for Gura. This is just such a good run. It's crazy. And we've got a first entry to Tane's laboratory. Congratulations to that player. Oh my god, Mosh has no potions, and they're running around on low HP, and they have no portal.
Oh, no portals. Oh, Mosh, please hang in there, buddy. Oh, the log.
They log.
The log is
Okay,
right.
good call,
The
good
waypoint's
call,
right there.
you know?
Yeah, that's a fair call. That waypoint is right there. When you have no portals, probably not worth risking it. Not too much.
Yeah, every bit of inventory management matters, you know.
Yeah, missing the portals, empty flask, empty life bar. Definitely time to have a little refresh. Take a breath for a second there. Very nice. We're seeing a lot of close calls for Mosh in this act here, but I'm very impressed with their run and their performance overall. They're flying there. They're going. But definitely taking a lot of damage.
Interesting. Cruelty being utilized for Mosh.
Unusual support gem choice there for sure.
On cremation too. I mean, that's a really good multiplier, honestly. That's a great call. All right, very cool. I mean, Gura currently fighting Innocence, a bit of a nemesis. 2 events ended on Nemesis for Gura.
The kill is looking quite clean this time around. Just gets one 360-degree rotation of the laser and then straight into the next ad phase. And we also see, like, these players know how to manage this ad phase. They don't even bother with the bubble mobs. You don't actually have to kill them. You just work your way through the middle, kill the mobs that try to get on top of you, and you keep moving this little circular formation there and dodge those fireballs. And as long as you're safe about it, it's not too much of a problem. And those bubble mobs just disappear. So very nice Innocence kill there. Gura not even bothering to check the loot. At this point, they're just going as fast as they can to Kitava to try and secure this win. I feel like at this point I've been playing so much safer, right? Maybe that's the difference. I
mean, they're looking for the bookshelf skip, so I don't think there's any safety going on here, you know? They're really good on bosses utilizing the world's most famous Path of Exile bossing strategy, run around in circles until boss die. Very good stuff. But again, Gura was definitely looking for that bookshelf there. They were looking for the skip. They're trying to go as fast as humanly possible, and this is about as fast as we've seen so far with 1 hour and 2 minutes. Mosh is dead.
I think we missed it. We missed a death there on Mosh. Actually, with all the close calls, one came too close indeed. We'll get a clip here in just a moment if we can to take a look at what happened, as we did miss that as we were focused on the Innocence kill there from Gura. And we might have just a brief moment to be able to take a look at that here. See if we can get ourselves a clip in a moment to find out what happened.
Maybe we could hit a quick refresh on everything on the production side, as some people are mentioning that we are a little bit ahead and behind and whatnot. Might be a little bit of a hiccup for you guys, but I think it's going to be good overall for the cast, as we're getting pretty close to the end here with Gura already in the ossuary, blasting through a pretty simple zone, but min-maxing it tends to be a little bit difficult when it comes to racing because you get stuck a lot, and a leap slam really needs to be impeccable here.
Yeah, mostly pretty clean run through there for Gura. And now is the final little ascent to the Kitava fight. I'm seeing if here is the clip from Mosh, if you missed it. Oh, it was actually after Malachi.
No determination.
Oh, teleports. No determination. Oh, here we go. But I think we know what's gonna. Oh!
They get
Caught
stuck
on
with
the
Leap
blue pack.
Slam. No.
Yeah, I was expecting the Wendigos, but it was actually the goats leap slamming on him there. Brutal. Definitely
The
determination might have helped.
pixel.
Oof.
The pixel perfect jump on one of those poles, and it just impales him. I can no longer
Oh,
move.
man.
No way to get out. The only way that you can get off of those is with a frost blink, and that just wasn't available to them. So we'll die as
Ooh.
Gura on the cathedral rooftops, getting really
full
close
screen
to
it?
the end of this race. 1 hour and 4 minutes.
What
This
the?
is
This is
crazy.
so fast. We're looking for a 106, sub 107 kill here potentially without
I'm
any
full
upsets.
screening.
You're full screener. Let's go. Here we go. Gura, after so many fast races and big upsets in the previous weeks, if it is indeed grass, which I think we strongly suspect it is, doing those last little passive point adjustments there, picking up a little bit of extra damage for the actual fight here to see it through to victory. And determination is off. Anger is swapped. Is looking pretty low on HP here. A punch could end it all. Is definitely going to have to avoid getting hit by any of those punches. And that one is well over to the side there, taking a lot of degen damage. Manages to hang in there and dodges the Ember Throw. Very nice. And gets the first phase down very cleanly. Has to be a little careful of the ads here on the heart phase, though, as they can do a lot of damage.
Absolutely. So just one life potion. They need to dodge. They need to make sure that those cremations are up 24/7. He can't afford to get stunned. Still has charges on their flash.
Oh, no! Rise! Oh, the leap slam just slightly wrong on the angle and gets hit by the explosion. The cascade.
Okay, hold on. Where are the other players? Fighting innocence. I mean, there's, the safety portal is there. So they have to wait in town for an entire minute, but they will not, in fact, have to rerun the zone. But man, you can really see how little it takes to take down a player. Just leap slamming through one of the ticks of the X mark will be enough to take him down with 654 HP.
Yeah, so little HP.
No amount of determination would have helped there. So,
like I said, it's felt so risky and aggressive from Gura this whole time. They've been so fast that they might just have secured enough league that even with this death, they can get back and still take
only
it.
one portal for Gura. Only one portal remaining in their inventory.
Uh-oh.
I'm full screening again. Okay, let's see.
Here we go.
If this happens again, this will be a problem.
Cannot afford another one of those. Definitely not. But with this HP, literally the middle, the tiny explosion, the punch, the Ember Throw, any of these can take him down. Much better judging there. Positions nicely for the arm sweep. Very nice. Oh, it was just a slight misangling of the leap slam. That's all it took to go down to that explosion there.
Oh man, the cursor is hidden, but I'm sure it's shaking. Dropping low there.
The flicker strike there, doing more than half hit points there. So little HP, but we often see kills with 900 hit points. They're not even close. Yeah, oh, that's a bit better there. The leap slam, dodging, very clean. Done. There we go. They secure it with a death as well, just to heighten the dramatic suspense. And Gura will be securing. Themselves some microtransactions. I mean, they do. They win a nice set of microtransactions for their victory today. But also, more importantly, their ultra VIP ticket, flights and accommodation for ExileCon, and a slot in the final race of the ExileCon race, should they be willing to go to that. And I sure do hope we see them. We saw a very nice run there and a little bit of dramatic suspense there with the upset at the end. Still so fast that even with death was able to secure that kill. So huge Uwu congratulations for Gura. They get the congrats from Bex there. Very nicely done to Gura or Gurask, possibly our mystery player. Who it is, we may only find out at ExileCon potentially, but who they are is a damn fine racer, Rise. I think we know that. 107.41 seconds is the final time there for Gura. Exceptionally fast time. And is that our fastest time? That is our fastest time by 30-something seconds, faster than Tata Killer. I have seen slightly faster practice, like best times, but...
Mosh is dead.
Oh no! Mosh, Alex is dead! Everyone's dying! We knew it would happen in this final race. We knew it would happen that in this final race that everyone would die, and literally everyone on screen dying right now. We got Marsh, we got Alex Bloodborne. Keldon is the only one who's currently alive, so let's go ahead and full screen them as we see their Kitava kill there. But very exciting finale of these qualifier races, Rise. Thoroughly enjoyed. And I've enjoyed casting these with you, mate. It's been a pleasure.
100%. And I mean, you know, qualifying in the last qualifier, pretty good. Qualifying for ExileCon, also pretty good. But a congratulations message from Bex, priceless.
Oh.
Huge congrats to Gura.
That's right. My favorite of those, though, is probably Havoc's from last week, where he didn't actually realize that he'd won until he got that message from Bex. And he's like, wait, no, I didn't win. Aren't I second? And Bex had to give him the good news. That was probably my favorite. Very entertaining moment there. But we have 4 fine races potentially in the ExileCon finale. They're securing their slots. I'm Exile, phenomenal racer. Tai Killer, definitely a crowd favorite. Havoc, community creator, and our mystery player, Grast, who's had quite the story to get here to this moment today. I think those are the stories that I love, you know, someone who's just so good, but held back by a fatal flaw in those previous races. And we're just wondering, can they get it in that final one? And then they showed today that, oh, yes, they can, definitely, and then some. So super exciting race there. And a special shout out from me to Keldon as well, because Keldon's done such a good job in each of these races and just getting better and better. And it looks like he's securing a very nice Kitava kill here for the finale, closing it out, which I love to see. On Keldon is definitely one of my personal favorites. So I love to see the effort from Keldon there. Sadly, they will not be securing that slot in the ExileCon qualifiers, although I think they have gotten their fastest time. If someone were to drop out or be unable to attend, I think that would put them in potentially. So we'll find out what happens there. But folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. We won't be casting it again together until the final weekend of July at ExileCon, live in person for the race, where we might be able to hear the crowd in person, which was quite the experience, and I very much look forward to once again. But huge round of applause for our various different winners and races, and for you, Rise, co-casting with me. Thanks very much, mate.
Oh, I get a round of applause. Thank you, Ziggy.
Yeah, for you, mate. Absolutely. You're super entertaining. I love casting with you, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to you, the audience, for all of your hype and excitement and your various messages, both accurate and inaccurate, during my casting. Always very entertaining. It's been an absolute pleasure. So, folks, we'll see you at ExileCon, where GGG will be announcing and showcasing Path of Exile 2, PoE Mobile, the new Path of Exile expansion, and the grand finale to round and cap things off with our 4 fantastic races here. But, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm Ziggy D, joined here by Rise QT. And thank you, folks, very much for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody.